Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lori, and this is episode 2 of 5 on what is a boundary, how to set them, and all of those things. So this is how are you going to set a boundary. First, let's acknowledge the gorgeous shirt. It embodies everything that I am, universe and cats and moon. Like that's literally me all in one shirt, and my bestie gave me this a while back. So I wanted to talk to you about how to set boundaries, right? So now that I've identified what is a boundary, what does a boundary look like, I want to go deeper into helping you to setting several boundaries, right? So first and foremost, I would love for you to go through each part of the boundaries, right? Physical, what do you like? So let me give you an example of that. Let's say you're just not a hugger. Okay, I'm very affectionate, especially if I've had some wine. I'm going to be super handsy. It's just me. So let's say I'm going to be super handsy with you. Sometimes, not all the time. It's not like it's a switch. But if I am, and you can kind of see me like getting ready to come in, and you're thinking, I don't want to be touched by anybody, you would say, "Oh, I don't hug." Okay, right? So you have to ask yourself, now, are you willing to be in receive of understanding if somebody says, "Hey, I don't really hug a lot." It's not a personal attack. Let's not make this a personal attack. So what will you allow physically? What kind of physical touch and personal space do you need? So figure out what personal space you need. And it doesn't just mean, when we think personal space, it could be like right here, right? And granted, that is personal space, but also what kind of space do you need to not people? I'm a big not peopler because my entire day and profession is peopling, which is great, love it. But I need that decompression, and I know that. So I also need physical space, right? So I need physical space and emotional space. So those blend in both of those boundaries. So there's a physical boundary, there's an emotional boundary. Emotional boundary is, if you find, I don't want you to put a specific person to any of these when you're researching what you want your boundaries are. Don't be like, well, mom drives me. It's not about mom. Mom doesn't drive you crazy. You allow that to happen. But we're not talking about anybody. We're talking about you, right? So when do you know that you need the break, right? When I need you to take every other human being out of this for 5 seconds. When do you notice that you need a physical distance space? Do you have to have your workout in the morning? Do you feel like, to make yourself function, do you have to have time to do your journaling? Do you have, whatever that is, that should be your boundary. Okay, so for me, right, in the morning, I don't really mess around with people. Even if I'm not working out that day, I am spending time doing my journaling. I'm not going to talk to people. I will shoot my TikTok or my YouTube or whatever I'm doing for that day. And I keep it very me. I don't check TikToks. I don't check emails. I don't check clients. I don't do any of that. And that is my hard boundary for myself. Every one of these boundaries that you're setting are for you, and they pertain to everyone. Okay. So I know for me, that's a non-negotiable. So you have to start getting clear with what it is that you want. Now, financially, there's a financial boundary. Do you loan money, right? If I don't really loan money, but I guess if my sister needed money, If you don't lend money, then you don't lend money. Let your sister be salty. Let your sister be irritated. Let your sister be angry with you. If you do not lend money, this does not mean I don't lend money-ish. Like, I don't lend money. Oh, she just wore me down. Fine, I'll give her $20. No. What if that's your thing, or if you say, hey, I'll loan money, but I have a hard line on if it doesn't get paid back in time, or whatever the case may be, that's fine. But again, this is blanketed. All right. So think of it too as time. How much time in your time boundaries? What does time look like for you? How much time do you have to dedicate it towards something? Don't be all, figuring it out, yes. But you'll be like, don't be like, yeah, well, I think I only need like a half hour. Okay, well, you might find, hey, a half hour is not enough, or a half hour is too much time, or whatever. Some of it's going to be trial and error in the beginning. However, once you've just decided like the sweet spot of that time, then you stick with it. And this means if I tell you I have to leave at 2 o'clock, I'm going to leave at 2. If I now say I'm going to leave at 2 o'clock, and listen, there are times for exceptions. If all of a sudden it's like you're having a really great day and you want to stay a little bit longer, that's fine. However, it's on your terms. Right? And it's not really overstepping your own boundary, because you're just like, okay, it's fine. But if you tell them you're leaving at 2, don't leave at 2:01, don't leave at 2:05, leave at 2. Do that start doing that wrap up at 1:45. All right, guys, I'm gonna get ready to go. It's been so great. Thank you for having me. Oh, can't you stay a little bit longer? Nope, I'm out of here at 2. And let them talk you right out the door. Okay. So that's the thing is, what are you willing to do for your time? How much time do you need, not just for yourself, but what is it going to look like? How much time can you dedicate to talking to someone? Some people fill your cup and you're like, oh my God, I have endless amount of time with them. I mean, that's fine. I still would say kind of like figure out a time. But if something is super draining on you, why would you give a lot of time to it? And then don't sit there and keep trying to be right and all of those things. Here's the thing, you can be right or you can be happy, you can't be both. And your right may not be right for everybody else. So in understanding what those time boundaries are, those emotional boundaries are, the financial boundaries are, the physical boundaries. See, those are all super important things. And also, this is where you need to establish the non-oversharing. You can't be oversharing things. No is an entirely complete sentence. No, period. And I've said this before, and the reason why you must hold that no. Now, again, anything I say to you also pertains to you. So if you were to say, hey, Lori, if you want to go to this barbecue, and I was like, no, thank you. If I was just like, no or no, thank you, that's all you're getting. If you think, wonder why she didn't come, that's for you to figure out. I don't need to tell you, and you don't need to tell them, because they're going to constantly move the goalpost, or you're going to constantly move the goalpost. So now if I really did, and I've used this example a million times, if I did say to you, like, oh, I can't make it because my daughter has soccer, you might be bummed, but you're like, okay, I get it, our daughter has soccer. But if I say, hey, I want to sit home and watch TV, and you think, you could do that anytime. Why are you negotiating my why? You don't need to know. You don't have to like it, but this is me. If I tell you I'm not coming, I'm not coming. It doesn't matter my why, right? And be careful, because you say you want the why, which means you're now overstepping somebody else's boundaries. And I have a whole video on that. You can't be overstepping people's boundaries just to make yourself feel better. So when you hold your boundaries, you understand that it might rub some people a little wrong, or it might take them a minute to like fall in play, but it is what it is. So you have to be very, very clear on each area of those boundaries. And honestly, a lot of times you don't have boundaries because you don't know what you need. I mean, let's call it like it is, right? You have a lot of times a hard time to struggle with your boundaries because you're like, I don't really know what I need. Great. So how the hell are you supposed to set a boundary then? Do you see what I'm saying? So this is a little introspective work where you got to get really in tune with yourself and say, what are things that I need from, this is all about you. All of this is about you. Baby, protecting yourself and self-love and setting boundaries, not selfish. People might see it that way. It is not. Because you are the one that's going to live 100% of your life with you. No one else. No one else is living 100% of your life. No one but you. So you have to know what it is that you will accept and won't accept. Now, don't be surprised if that starts to change a little bit. Maybe you're like, okay, well, this served me in the time. That's called growth, right? This isn't something that's like drilled into the ground to never be changed. You are in control of that. And that's the key. You are in control of your own boundaries. And don't worry about not having those tools in the past to set them. And I need you to get that thought process of like, well, my family likes this, and this is just how we do it. False belief system, take that out. So it's a good space for you to start with the starting of your boundaries. What will you tolerate time-wise? Time, again, your own time you're going to spend with people. What are you going to do? Financially, do you loan money? Do you not loan money? What are the kind of like parameters of that? Physically, what does that look like? Spiritually, do you want to talk about religion? Do you not want to talk about religion? Do you want to talk about politics? Do you not want to talk about politics? I don't talk about politics. It's just a hard pass for me. Like I do me and it's fine, And so I don't care if you want to know. I'm not telling you. And again, I'm not embarrassed. I mean, I will tell you if like you're like really like, oh my God, let's have a conversation. You want to really hear it without judging it. But I know that I know when I need to disconnect. So the beautiful thing about boundaries is kind of knowing who you are. So this whole exercise of setting a boundary starts to get really clear, because very often you're too worried about what these people are doing. Like, how do I block a toxic coworker? How do I set a boundary with mom? Why are we worried about other people? Your boundary is going to be universal from here to here, from mom to the coworker, to the neighbor down the street, to the whatever, to the pharmacist. Same thing. So I need you to get very clear on that. Really ask yourself, what are some things that you need? And what are some things that you will not tolerate for yourself? And that's where you start writing your boundaries. you have to define them yourself before you start worrying about people respecting them. How can anybody even fall in line or fall in play or whatever you want to say when you don't even know like why you're doing it? And again, take the emotional piece out of it. This isn't about being reactive. It's about understanding this is about protecting your peace. So that is a great place for you to start with establishing boundaries.